All right, Ike, Jenna, and Liza. We are together here virtually as everybody is in a different room or a different house or something, and it's just the way that we record this. But the theme of this episode is very much togetherness and travel and adventure with one's partner celebrating Valentine's Day, which Liza and I actually don't celebrate because of the rampant commercialism, and actually because our anniversary is only a few days later, so we just don't double up. I'm not buying two things.
St. Valentine's did originally work for Macy's, I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
absolutely. 100%. He invented the department store. That's a little known fact that he was the inventor of. I just found out the other day that the gentleman that invented Bluetooth was named like Henry Bluetooth. It seems improbable, but apparently like a Viking king from the sometime in the past they named it after.
Sounds like one of those stories like the person that invented running was named Henry Runner, and he just tried to run twice at the same time in 1732.
Mm-hmm. And that's all you had to do. I think all those good ones are taken up, though. Yeah, except for Gossing, which is like a pretty hip club dance right now.
Don't Google that.
No, don't. Certainly not at work. Certainly not at work. Yeah. So, Liza and Jenna, welcome to the show. Jenna, for the first time, you've been in the background of so many episodes and have been, on the ground support for Linus so many times. It is an absolute pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Somebody needs
that's
to
right.
keep
And Liza, welcome back after the highly critically acclaimed, listened to by every listener except for Ike, the clip show by popular demand back with us. So
I love that it's the only episode Ike is not in, and he can't be bothered
what it
to
is.
listen to
It's just the narcissism. That's true. That's true. Now, to be fair, Chris is often talked about in episodes and has never listened to the show. He militantly doesn't listen to it. At least Linus actually listens to the show. And
Linus listens to it more than anyone.
That's why he gets to be on the show. Yeah, Linus is like fan number 2. If Liza and Jenna are 0 and 1, then Linus is certainly number 2. So that just goes to show you. And Bob Ives, huge fan of the show and has been on the show. So if you listen to the show enough, you get to be on the show. That's how it works. So this very special Valentine's Day episode, produced by our friends at the Hallmark Channel, is what we're going to do today is by internet committee, we've decided to call these adventure story segments That Was a Trip, which won out over Tales from the Trails, which I like. I kind of like them both, but That's a Trip. That Was a Trip.
To be fair, your Instagram folks, they split the vote 50-50. So then it went to committee. Of those 4 people here, and
that was a trip.
That was a trip.
Exactly.
One.
So Liza and I are going to start off with a sort of a I suppose romantic, maybe not, probably not. But we on our first wedding anniversary. Yes, first wedding anniversary.
Yeah.
We took a trip to Maui, back to Hawaii. We'd gone there for our honeymoon as well, and that's a whole different story of vehicular mayhem that happened there. But this particular story starts with Liza and I renting a convertible Mustang, as you do when we actually rented a Jeep the first year, and I just felt so dirty after that I couldn't do it again. And
imagine how the Jeep felt.
Oh, I know it was believe me, mutually unpleasant. So we rented a Mustang convertible, as you do, and we decided that we would drive to Hana, which is on the far side of the island, the windward, the wayward, I don't know islands, so it's on the
leeward,
south, the leeward, the windward. All I know about island direction comes from
the southeast corner of Maui.
The southeast corner.
But the thing, if you've never been to Maui, if you've never been to Hana, and certainly if you haven't been there recently, for years, the road past passed Hana, stopped just a couple miles outside of Hana, and there were these huge signs saying, do not go further. When you rented your car at the rental place, you had to sign off saying that you would not go past those warning signs saying you can't drive your rental car past here because the roads are not paved, it's not maintained, there is zero cell service.
Yeah, there's definitely zero cell service, that's for sure. Well, it was because it was an active lava flow. That's where the Maui lava flow comes through that part of the island and wipes out the roads and villages and livestock. People are killed. It's a horrendous moonscape through there.
Well, and I imagine if you're a local in Maui, the last thing you want are a bunch of really ignorant tourists driving these, really poorly maintained roads
very
in
poorly
cars that they're not used to
Ford
driving.
Mustang.
Like, I get why they don't want people going.
Nobody
down
should go
there,
down there
for sure.
So what did you guys do?
So we went down there.
Well, no, wait. We didn't just randomly decide to go down there. We had gone the previous year, so we knew where the signs were. We were waiting for the signs to say, stop, turn around, go back. We figured we'd go to the end of the road, and then we'd just turn around.
Yeah, it's like a nice little spot,
Except that those signs had been taken down. We found out after the fact those signs had been taken down 1 week.
Yeah, so
earlier.
we're driving along the the road to Hana, and we pass we're sort of I think the sign is it's right up here. We'll turn around in a few minutes, no problem. It's sort of getting into a spot where no, I don't remember this exactly, but it's been a year. Who knows?
No, I think at this point we were going.
I think we've gone past it. I think we've gone, and so we were sort of talking about, okay, well let's turn around because let's head back. And as we did that, we sort of crested a hill, and there was a couple older, from what I remember, that had a tire blown out on their car, which is totally reasonable because it is littered with lava rock, razor sharp lava rocks everywhere, on the roads and stuff. And so no problem. And they looked like they were struggling. So we stopped and said, I'll just change the tire for them so that they can get back quickly. I'll just jump out. I'll change the tire. So
they were probably early 70s.
Wonderful.
Really lovely couple. I
got to know them very
well. Their name.
So I jumped out and fairly easily, quickly changed their tire. No problem. There's the spare in the trunk and all that kind of stuff. We got it figured out. No problem.
And then I may or may not have decided that I was going to quickly change into a different, into shorts or into a sweater or something. I don't remember. And I may have taken the keys and gone back to the Mustang and changed and then come back, and Stephen finished with the car, and everybody was good, and we were going to part ways, and we went to go get back in the Mustang, and he looked at me and said,
and one thing we quickly realized about an early 2000s Mustang is that once the trunk is closed, the only way to open that trunk is with the keys to the car. So we go to make a quick phone call to say, Hertz, hey, we have locked the keys in the car, to realize that there is literally no cell signal at all. It is a barren wasteland of signal and people, to be fair. No one is driving up and down this road.
Nobody has driven by us in a long
So the nice couple
time.
that we changed the tire for was nice enough to drive Liza back to the last store before you leave, sort of civilization on this island.
But not you.
So this woman and I backtrack about 4 miles to this, and when I say store, I mean it is somebody's house, and they've set up the living room as kind of a convenience store for the locals. And we go in there, and they had a map of the island on the, right next to the door. And I couldn't get cell phone service, nothing. But the woman who owned this store did, and I had to plead to let me use her phone. I had to pay her cash money to say, can I use your cell phone to call AAA
well, first of all,
to try to get them to come out.
The rental company.
Oh,
yeah, to say that. So that place on the island we're not supposed to be, with this car we're not supposed to have there. Well, we've locked the keys inside of it, and do you have another set of keys? And they said, well, we do have another set of keys, but they are basically at the airport, 100 miles away or something. And you could have the car towed to the dealership or to the rental place, and they would do it. Or, that's really all you can do. We're not coming out to get you. We're not sending keys. This is all things. So we talked then to AAA about towing it, and they're like, no, we're not. We can't. We're not coming out there. We're not towing that thing. That's crazy. And then either the woman in the store or AAA said, what about a locksmith? They can probably just pop the lock and open the trunk. We said, okay, that sounds reasonable. So send out the locksmith. So we got a hold of a local locksmith. They were going to come out.
But to be fair, I had to call and try to explain, because I think we did the locksmith through AAA. So I'm talking to somebody
Idaho.
I don't know, Pennsylvania, trying to explain where we are in Maui. And I'm looking at a map, and I remember at one point having to say to the woman, okay, do you have a map of Maui in front of you? She said, yes. And I said, okay, do you see the big volcano right in the middle of the island there? Okay, draw a line straight down to the coast. That's where we are. Like, I'm trying to explain. And I remember now it was called the Kaipo store.
Oh, shout out to the Kaipo store. Here we go. Free advertising.
And whoever owned it 12 years ago.
True. So okay, we're going to send out a locksmith, no problem. When can the locksmith be there? 5 hours. Can a locksmith be here? No. There's one locksmith on this side of the island. They'll be there.
He's fishing.
5 hours. He's fishing right now. He'll be there 5 hours. And so, so the elderly couple, they head out. And they're like,
Well, they have to. Every time we have to make a group decision about this, the couple has to drive me back to Stephen so that we can talk, to drive back to the store to make the decision, make the phone call. There were several trips.
So ultimately it's decided we're okay. Locksmith's on the way. That's going to get it fixed. No problem. We'll see you guys. It's been lovely to meet you. No problem fixing the tire. Enjoy the rest of your vacation. So then 5 hours of waiting ensues. We hang out at the beach on the other side of the road. There's a lot of cows for some reason that are sort of wandering pastures over here. Okay, it's starting to get, we're in golden hour now, sort of almost sunset, and our friend from, the Aloha locksmith or whatever shows up in his van and gets out and looks at the Mustang and says, I can't open that. We said, wait. We've been here for 5 hours. They said that you could do. Oh yeah, no. You can't open the lock on a Mustang. We can't even drill them out. They've made them so that they are basically impossible to open. And I said, there's no way.
Nothing's impossible. Yeah.
Nothing's impossible. I said, what tools do you have? And he said, well, I've got, whatever. I'm like, let's try this. Can we take the back seat out of this car? Maybe we can get in from the back seat. So the guy's like, oh, whatever. AAA's paying for this. And so we're like, okay. So we then start disassembling the car. So we've got the back seat out. We start taking all of the insulation, the stereo systems back there. We're taking speakers out of it. And we manage to get to a place where we feel like a cardboard divider. And I think I can push it far enough with 4 socket extensions to sort of make it flex enough that I've just given where this is on the car, we have to be close. And I said, let's just get in there. And so we sort of ripped a hole in the insulation, and sure enough, you could shine a flashlight through and you could see into the trunk. And I'm like, okay, so now what, so what are our options here? And we're like, well, there's no way to release it until we realize that dangling.
By this time, to be clear, it is dark outside. It is pitch black. There is not a light to be seen on the horizon. And so we see dangling in the far distance of the trunk the emergency release for somebody that you had stashed in your trunk. And we said, okay, all we have to do now is grab that. And this locksmith guy at this point now is sort of into it. He's like, we're MacGyvering this. At first he was like, this is the stupidest thing anybody has ever done. You take the seats out of this car. What's wrong with you? You shouldn't do that. You're going to ruin this car. And I said, well, ruined or not, I'll take the whatever. And so finally we did manage to jerry rig together a set of tools. I think we actually gaffers taped a pair of pliers onto a couple of ratchet extensions, and we're able to sort of pull the trunk open. Trunk pops open. We get the keys. We sort of throw all the stuff into the back of the car. And at this point, now we're like, well, we're
it's 25 miles to get into the city by the road that you're not supposed to use, or it's 100 and some odd miles to get back the other direction. And we're like, I think we just got to go. We got to go across this lava field and just sort of make the best of it. So
in a convertible Mustang.
And at this point, we had disabled the ability to put the top up. It couldn't go up anymore because of the fact that most of the car was disassembled at this point. There were lights flashing, that all kinds of the power locks stopped working, all kinds of things. So we're in this Mustang, and the guy says, "Okay, yeah, no problem. Just follow me," in his Ford Metro van or whatever.
No, yeah, he's in one of those.
Yeah, he's got a double,
vans, like with the sliding door.
It's got all kinds of shit in it. It's just like full of like loose sockets and like door tumbler keys. It's just like fucking full of keys. There's 7,000 keys in it. And so he's like, "Hey, yeah, just follow me. It'll be fine. Just in case there's any trouble or anything on the road." Because remember, we had stopped because someone's tire was shredded because of all of the lava shrapnel on the road. And so he's like, "No problem," and takes off at 150 miles an hour. I have never seen a Ford Transit van or whatever it was travel at that speed. I wasn't sure it was even possible. So I said, "Well, shit, we got to keep up with this. If anything happens, we know no cell phones. We're going to die. We're going to be eaten by a cow." So I take off at 150 miles an hour with our partial
Mustang with rental car all-weather tires
that is not bolted down anymore in the back, bouncing up and down every time we hit a thing. You hear just rattling bolts, and
it is black outside. It is darker. I mean, it's probably like Death Valley in the middle of the night. Like, just all you can see are stars.
And it's early enough.
That's
There's no significant moonlight because it's still too early in the evening. So it's just that time of the night where it's just ink black.
And Steven is driving at a pace that is obviously not safe in this vehicle. And we've been married a year. And at this point, I think I am screaming at him every time he takes some crazy corner or we go over bumps in the road and we're both leaving our seats. And I'm pretty sure for our 1-year anniversary, I must have screamed no fewer than about 3 dozen times, "I hate you. That's it. We're getting a divorce. I wanted nothing to do with this anymore." And I'm telling him to slow down, and he keeps saying to me, "If we lose this guy, we're screwed if something goes wrong."
And I feel like he has just robbed a bank, and we are the pursuing police. It just doesn't. I don't know. In his mind, I mean, in his mind, he drives this road every day. He's probably late because we just disassembled a car on the side of the road that he wasn't planning on doing. So he's late for dinner or something. So he's just getting home. He drives this road all the time. It's no big deal. We don't have a road book. We don't have it. We need to drive at rally car speed with really no sense of the terrain at all, except that I can see his little taillights bobbing and weaving in front of us, and are trying to avoid cows and rocks and whatever else.
Oh, and at this point, I'm hungry. I'm so hungry, and I'm so mad at you because I think we had brought a few snacks, but we had sort of planned on getting back and going for dinner or something, and we did not have the by this time we'd been out there 8 or 9 hours. We didn't have 9 hours of snacks.
And so we finally we didn't die. We got back into civilization. We got back to the hotel. I spent a good portion of the next day with the toolkit that comes with the Mustang, reassembling the Mustang, which of course is not the right tools to just sort of bodge this Mustang back together, and sort of did the old drop it off and run kind of a thing at the airport check-in. But
I will give Steven credit. If he was not as accomplished as he is with his experience with Land Rovers and off-road driving, I'm not sure we would have gotten out alive
I'm really
that
good
day.
at shitty cars that constantly need to be restored or repaired at the side of the road.
You guys are the reason there's a sign there. You know that, right?
And we are the reason.
We hated the fact that we were those people. We kept commenting on it all day. We were like, "Oh man, we're the reason they put those signs up. We're one of those."
Yeah,
people.
Did you ever hear from the rental car
I
place?
deserve the open hand howly slap that I'm about to get. That's I deserve it.
Did you ever hear any feedback from the rental car place?
Coincidentally, no. I guess I got it back together good enough, and we did. We made a habit of sort of complaining, I don't know, the rear seat is sort of squeaky and sort of seems a little bit loose. You might want to take a look at that at some point. I don't know. I mean, whatever. It's not like somebody disassembled it in the middle.
And they were like, "Sir, what were you doing in the back seat?"
saying, nobody, I guess, looked in the trunk to see like what is probably a 6-inch hole in the cardboard that was clearly like put there by stone tools. But no.
So you couldn't like fish the keys out, or
no, couldn't get to the key. Couldn't even see the keys through the trunk. There was.
We didn't have a lot of stuff in the trunk, but like we had enough things sort of randomly placed that trying to wade through it and figure out what it was just
and
no way.
Ford has made a trunk that is impenetrable by anything but the keys to that trunk.
So coincidentally, when we go on vacation and we rent vehicles, I am not in charge of the keys. Never, ever.
We actually make a case now of asking for the store keys if they're available.
It's a good policy. Yeah. Well, speaking of stories that feature a convenience store for the locals, we've got one for you.
I'm so excited.
So, Jenna and I, we have been seeing one another since college, which was only a few years ago.
Yeah.
So
6 months, 7 months.
Yeah, 6-7 months. So
actually late high school.
Yeah. So
Stephen and I were high school too. We met on the first day of school.
Amazing.
We were in the same homeroom.
Amazing.
There you go. So those of you who have met your significant other early on in life will probably go on to start a Land Rover podcast.
So.
And if you make it through a harrowing journey with a Mustang and you're still married, kudos.
Yeah. So Jenna's first car was a Land Rover Series 2A pickup truck, 64, 65. At any rate,
66.
66. So at any rate, we decide that we're gonna take her Land Rover and we're gonna drive it out into the forest in Brown County, Indiana, outside of where we went to school in Bloomington. And in the process, we managed to get it wedged rather badly, nose down.
I got it wedged.
What's that?
I said I'm responsible for the wedging. I'm pretty sure. I got it super kind of cross-axled in this really like pointy ditch, gully wash. It's like on a hill, and like where the drainage was coming down, there was this really like sharp little gully.
It's probably 4 feet.
Totally.
When you do things, you don't fool around. You go all in. So that's
probably 4 feet deep, and the nose of the truck is wedged down in. The bumper is stuck against the far bank, and it's really, really difficult to get any traction or turn it, and it's just wedged in there. So,
and were cell phones prominent at this time, or we just left
this
our
was
cell
another
phones
area of our beloved country that is without cellular telephone service.
Yeah.
And so we did not have cell phone service, and there was really no way to get a signal or to call friends or anything. But
just out in the forest.
So I had fortunately brought my Land Rover along, so we were in 2 vehicles, so that part was good. But Jenna managed to get the vehicle stuck, and I thought, well, I'm gonna drive it out because I'm really good at this. And I turned the steering wheel very, very hard. And apparently I'm strong enough to break the steering box. And so
the legendarily underbuilt Land Rover steering box.
Yes, so I managed to just turn that steering wheel until it just popped, and then there was no connection between the steering wheel and the wheels. So it's still stuck in the ditch.
And now it can't be steered.
In the forest.
Now it can't be steered at all. And this is on a moderately difficult trail, and there's not a tow truck that's going to come get you, or
in the days before Kevin could just send you a whole new steering box.
Yeah. So we did manage to use the other Land Rover to get it oriented, and out of the ditch.
You had another Land Rover?
Yes, I brought mine, and she had brought hers. So we.
Oh, this is a romantic trip. You're both driving separately in 2 different vehicles.
Which is still how they travel to
Got it.
That's true.
Yeah. Actually, You know what? That's how I prefer to travel.
We drive next to one another and hold
side by
hands
side.
through the window.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one right-hand drive car, one left-hand drive car.
Yes.
Makes it very easy.
Yeah. It's very romantic.
Yeah.
So then we're like limping the car, like it still runs and it still powers the rear wheels, but it can't be steered. So we're like moving it like 5 feet and then like steering the wheels with like I'm pushing on the tires and Jenna's driving.
Yeah, he's like literally manually like crouching next to the car with like, you know, his arms around the tire, like rotating the tire to try to, you know, steer the car. Right?
Yeah.
So every 5 feet.
Every 5 feet. So we just move it 5 feet and then like steer it and then move it 5 feet. And after several hours of that, we managed to get it onto a gravel road.
Like 300 feet?
Pretty much. No, I mean it took a long time, and at certain points you could go maybe 20 feet, but at any rate it was arduous, and we managed to get it to a gravel road, and we're like, okay, well, a tow truck could possibly come pick up the Land Rover here on the gravel road, but there's no way to reach a tow truck or AAA or towing company or anything.
Did you have to abandon
we thought
it?
about that, and then we were like, we're in an area where the locals might scavenge the vehicle. Or,
a lot of Jawas.
Jawas might come.
Yeah.
Exactly. Jawas might come. And we're like, man, I don't want to leave it here. And our house was like, 2 hours away from there. Mm. So, and again, it was getting a little later in the day. So we were trying to decide what to do. And we decided that the best thing to do would be to limp it along until we got to the first house and then try to use a landline to call a tow truck. So we limp it along and we get to the first house. And the first house is,
we're in rural Indiana, right? Just setting the
we're
scene
in rural
here.
Indiana. And this is a rural dwelling. And I decide that...
Do they come out with a shotgun? Tell me they came out with a shotgun.
Worse. So I went to knock on the door, and I walk up and I walk onto the porch, and there's a dog who's barking at me in the yard. He's chained to a tree, and I go up and I knock on the door, and before I even get to the last knock, the door whips open, and there's a gentleman who is reaching behind himself and reaches into his waistband and pulls out a semi-automatic pistol, and he points it right at me, and he starts pulling the trigger, and he's shooting right over my shoulder, and he's shooting at a washing machine in his front yard. And I realize that he is also, because I'm like terrified, he's also...
I can't imagine why.
He says, "Shut the fuck up, Pee-wee!" And he's yelling at his dog to stop barking. So, and then he looks at me, and he's like, "What do you want?"
Can I help you, sir?
Yeah. And I'm committed, I'm totally committed at that point. I can't be like, "Oh, sorry, wrong door." So I'm like, I explain the situation. I'm like, "Look, car broke down, blah, blah, blah." And he says,
Jenna, where are you while the gunshots are going
I think
off?
I'm still in the car at that point, but then as Ike goes, once he commits eventually to going inside, I make the mistake of feeling obligated to I can't just let him leave him. I don't know where he's going to end up in there. So I end up following suit.
So I'm on the porch, and he's like, I explain that the car's broken down, and he says, "Well, why didn't you say so? Come on in." And so we go in the front room of this guy's house, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm Charlie, but everybody calls me Big Charlie, and hang tight. Let me go get the handset for the phone." And so we're standing there in this guy's living room, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna work out okay. You know, he seems very personable. Mm-hmm. And then I look, and on the walls of this guy's living room, there are racks of guns, like all the way around the living room, like racks and racks of guns. And then I'm like, oh, well, you know, he's a firearms enthusiast. And then I look down at his coffee table, and there are lots and lots of drugs all over his coffee table of all different varieties.
Pills.
Pills and powders and, you know, like syringes and, you know, just all kinds of stuff. Like just mountains of drugs. Just all kinds of drugs. They're like spilling off the coffee table onto the floor. And I'm like, huh, yeah. He's a recreational pharmaceutical enthusiast as well.
Maybe he's a sales rep.
Now, do you think they were his drugs, or do you think he was like the unexpected, you know, drug dealer of his?
This is what I was referring to previously when I said I think he was a convenience store for the locals.
Yeah.
So then I notice that there is another person in the living room as well with us, and they are sitting in a chair, which initially I thought was a rocking chair, but I realized that person was just incredibly cracked out on something, and they were just like staring off into the distance, just rocking back and forth. So about this time, we're like taking this all in, you know, like we're getting an eyeful, and Big Charlie comes back into the room, and he looks at me, and he's got the handset in his hand, and then he looks at the pile of drugs on the table, and he's like, "You're not going to tell anybody about this, are you?" And I was like, "Oh, no, I actually have a little bit of a habit myself." And so he's like,
"Yeah, when in Rome."
He's like, "Oh, all right." And so he gives me the handset, and I call the AAA person, and the AAA people were really helpful. Huh? And I'm trying to explain where we are, and I'm trying to explain all this stuff. And Big Charlie is also talking to me at the same time, and he's telling me about his life, and he's telling me about how he got kicked out of the military, and how he spent time in prison for robbing people, and he's like, just telling me all this great stuff that's, making me think, this is a little dicey. This situation.
Because the pharmaceuticals on the table didn't tip you off to that, nor the gunshots right
That's
past
how
your
Jenna and
face.
I got hooked on ketamine. You know, long story short. Wow.
So, at any rate, we hung up the phone with AAA, and Big Charlie invited us to stay and hang out while we waited for AAA, and we said, maybe we didn't want to impose, and maybe we would just wait outside with the.
Maybe I don't want my girlfriend to be trafficked for your drug habit. I mean,
we don't know what else Big Charlie had in the back of his house.
I feel like you missed an opportunity there for a great tour. It could have been.
He probably had like a panda fighting ring and like, all this stuff.
Who knows? Maybe he just, collected precious moments. Maybe he was actually
figuring.
Precious moments.
Yeah,
He opens the back room and it's just like,
yeah,
a sanctuary.
Plates on the wall, those commemorative plates you get from every
he's got a big
just
selection of national park spoons.
Yeah.
I
mean, those would work great for the drugs.
Yeah.
So.
Did you ask him if he had a Land Rover steering box?
I should have. I neglected to do that, but we said our goodbyes, and we exchanged addresses, and to this day, I still get a Christmas card from Big Charlie.
Oh yeah.
No, you don't. You're kidding me.
Yeah.
That would be the icing on the cake.
Yeah. And it's got just a fine white powder in it.
You just fold the card and hold it up to your nose.
Yeah,
just
a little bump, from Big Charlie.
Sort of like scented stationery.
Nothing starts the holidays off right, like a little bump from Charlie. Wow, that is amazing. It is amazing, and it's not even the first probably or last time you've been shot at either on purpose or by accident. So
it's a pretty regular occurrence at this point.
Yeah, it just happens. It's
mostly each other. We just shoot at each other.
Well, up there in Oregon, it's a homestead life. That's what happens.
I don't even blame people anymore.
I was Ike and I when we were in the UK. We were for a variety of reasons. We were delayed, and I said, "Oh Jesus, where I'm going to be delayed. I'm not going to make it back in time to do a Halloween thing at the curling club with Liza and Cooper, my daughter." And Ike's like, "Oh, I'm not going to be back in time to help Jenna trench in some power with the backhoe." Well, it's a slightly different level of commitment there, but So
Jenna's pretty solid on the excavator, I gotta say.
It's a project.
Yeah,
it's a project we're working on. That's
we've she's getting really good at
we're probably 1,000 feet into a 14-foot or 1,400 foot long trench.
Yeah.
Burying people.
Yeah.
Well, I swear, you guys, this summer is the summer that we are going to make the family trip and come up and see you guys.
I think we're going to come up. We're going to get the Nada, and I'm going to drive it back, and I'm going to make a short film about that. I think it's going to be a fantastic time. But as we come to a close here, it is tradition, as you all know, to have a lightning round of questions, but something a little different because again we're in the special Valentine's episode. Jenna and Liza have prepared lightning round questions for Ike and I, which is actually been requested by some viewers to have Ike and I do the lightning round questions. So what better venue than having Jenna and Liza ask them of us? So how do we want to do this? Do we want to do this cone of silence format? Is that what we've decided? Ike or I will take off our headphones so as not to pollute the answers of the other. All right.
Yeah. Why don't we have you guys go first?
Yeah, ladies, who would you like to go first? Ike is.
That's a good question. We obviously put a lot of thought into this before we went in. We wrote our questions.
All right, Ike is going to go into the cone of silence. Here he goes.
I'll rejoin you in a second.
All right, he's closing the door, turning that. It's like a submarine style lock on the door, so that's being closed. Okay, Ike, can you hear us?
Okay, am I asking you?
I think
Steven?
so. Yes. Okay, Ike cannot hear us. He's not acknowledging any. You can say anything you want about him right now. He can't hear what we're saying. So, all right, Liza, go ahead. I am
ready.
All right,
you ready? All right. Gas or diesel, bro?
Diesel.
Hard top or soft top? Dormobile or
100% Dormobile.
Okay. Taking it a little greener now. All electric or hydrogen?
Oh, that's
fuel
really
cell?
hard. For a Land Rover, hydrogen fuel cell, but hybrid electric is also great.
Okay. Defender 110 or 130, and D90 is not an option because it is always the wrong
I still
answer.
think it's D90, but given those two, it's 100% 130. I like the 130 a lot. I'm really excited about it.
If you could go back in time and do Camel Trophy any year, in any vehicle, with anyone, living or dead, who would it be?
I think I would like to probably either 89 with Bob Ives instead of Bob Ives' brother, which I think is perfectly self-serving, but I would not like to get into the bus accident that enabled me to go there. Or I think maybe 1992... 1993 Sabo Malaysia with my car would have been great, or 1992 with Bill Burke, because Bill's a good friend, and that was a great year.
And last but not least, how do you get 90 weight out of your underwear?
I do subscribe to the Burn It. As I actually, funny enough, I have 90 weight on my pants right now. I don't think it's soaked through yet, but it's I think actually technically it's 20W 75 or whatever is in the or 75W20 rather that's in the transmission of the Stage 1. But I do in fact have gear oil on my pants right now.
This is the problem. You've asked this question so many times.
Overthought it. Yeah, I do. I'm covered in gear oil right now, so I don't know. It's a problem we're going to figure out. So, all right.
Yeah. All right. How do we tell Ike to put his
just
headphones back on? We motion.
Okay. How'd you do? How'd you score?
Oh, it was brutal. It was brutal.
Did you win?
He did all right.
It was brutal.
He did all right.
All right. We'll see what I can do here.
All right. So same questions.
I don't know.
Lightning round.
I don't know if they're
same, or you can add your own.
I could spice it up a little bit. All right. We can do a few the same and a few different. How about that?
Ooh.
All right.
So what, Stephen? You don't.
I already know. I can't. I mean, I'll yell out the right answer. Like, Diesel, bro.
That's spoiler. All right. Question 1, Ike. Gas or diesel, bro?
Ooh, I like Series 1, so gas.
All right. Hard top or soft top?
Soft top.
Doormobile or rooftop tent?
Doormobile all the way.
All electric or hydrogen fuel cell?
Ooh, I think I'm going to go electric on that one.
Defender 110 or 130?
Ooh, new or old? If it's a new one, 130.
Well,
if it's an old one, 110.
All right. If you could go back in time and do the Camel Trophy with anyone, living or dead, who would it be?
Ooh, I would do 89 in a hover rover with Socrates.
Oh, spicy.
That'd be fun.
How do you get 90 weight out of your underwear?
I don't. It's there on purpose.
It provides an extra level of comfort.
All right, then I was going to do Warren M11 or MAP hubs.
Ooh, MAPs, I think. I love those Warrens, but MAPs, yeah. They're the originals.
The pride of Oregon.
PTO or crank drive?
Ooh, PTO. 4-speed winch. Can't beat it.
All right, last but not least, 86 or 88?
88. Yeah, 88 Series 1 is way better than 86. There's a lot of reasons. We should go into that in detail in another
We've
episode.
talked about that before. The 88 inches. Land Rover obviously figured something out because from then on out, they were all 88. Until they're
True story.
90, and then 90 is now 110, and 110 is now actually 130, and 130 is like 9.5 feet long, and I don't know. Anyways, whatever. It's interesting. It's interesting that you pick battery over hydrogen.
I just like go-karts. What can I say?
Yeah, I do too. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the go-kart. I found something where you can take the like that weird little Segway scooter thing that goes between your knees, and you can like graft it into the back of a go-kart that has like a wheelie bar kind of handbrake that makes you slide sideways. Looks like a ton of fun.
I want it. Sounds great.
I'm trying to come up with the best vehicle to drive the block and a half away to Starbucks. I'm thinking currently a Honda CT90 because I fancy a CT90 because I think I can teach Cooper to ride a motorcycle with it because it's got a semi-automatic transmission in it. But one of these little Segway drifter go-kart things would be pretty good. And there's a huge, my shop area here, there's a huge amount of trucks. There's an Amazon distribution center and everything. So, if you get in the wrong sort of mode with the truck, you just drift right underneath the wheels out the other side. It's fun. You just go right underneath the trailer like Fast and the Furious. It's going to be great.
I love it. I love that you're going to have your daughter do that. That's amazing.
It's going to be great. She's going to love it. She's going to have so much fun.
Liza's shaking her head.
I'm shaking my head. If ever there has been a reason for your viewers to go to YouTube and watch these videos after the fact, it's to see how hard I rolled my eyes into the back of my head. When
Liza has a lot of weekend events going on where Cooper and I are up to our own, whatever we want to get up to in the workshop. So, it's just there's only so much Liza can impose her will on that. So CT90s for everybody.
Speaking of weekend events, it's time to get after it.
It is indeed. So this has been a super fun time. I hope you guys will
really
come back again. I think we should make a more regular thing of it. But as always, please head on over to the Instagram, check that out. We've just hit 1,000, and then 99, and then 1,000, then 9,900, and then 1,000. So if you guys could help us.
By the time this episode airs,
we're going to be down to 800.
We'll be down to 800. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So.
Once everybody hears your answers to
Just-
your questions, and I'm just so
Just wait
disappointed
until
in
you see
all.
Ike's Get Low TikTok video. That will certainly that's going to push us up into the stratosphere.
I gotta work on that.
Far as, we're going to get a lot of like sort of lumberjack sexual kind of things. I think it's going to be great.
Is it just going to be like a really like suggestive pumping of the yellow knob?
Oh yeah. Well, I've often said that as we know, there is a number of of sort of lurid ladies in Land Rover photos on the internet. I've often said Ike and I should recreate those photos, and the Land Rover audience at large has said, no, please don't. So, but at any rate, but head over to the Instagram, our Facebook, and the YouTube if you want to see this video. YouTube videos are now coming out day and date, or at the same time on Mondays as the episode is. And if you are interested in becoming a Patreon, we have all kinds of new Patreon content coming this year. Special videos. Ike and I are going to do some weekly vlog stuff exclusively for Patreon supporters, and it should be a ton of
special
fun.
decals,
special only available, as we call them in Canada, decals for your Land Rovers, exclusive for our Patreon members. So lots of great stuff happening over there. Jenna, Liza, Ike, it has been a pleasure, and we'll see you on the next one.
All right, looking forward to it.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Cheers.